This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 30th March 2019. The first article, Pathways to an Income Guarantee. You know that Congress party proposed for Nyay. Under this, a minimum income guarantee was given to the 20% of the lowest rung population in this country, which comes to an average of 25 crore population. And they are securing income of 72,000 rupees per annum. So what are the possibilities of this program? And is this program necessary? Let us understand. In the early 21st century, the poverty and the programs against poverty started getting redefined. The multidimensionality of the poverty we started understanding. Previously, poverty is more understood as income poverty. So, after liberalization, India started growing at a jet speed. The prosperity is created in the country, but it did not get distributed. The inclusive factor was missing. Economic justice was missing. So, as economic justice and social justice are unable to find a parallel with each other, the new schemes and programs started appearing. Here, the Bolsa Familia was the most successful program, an anti-poverty program, which is centered around the income transfer. Till date, the choice of a livelihood or anything for that matter was in the hands of the government. Here in Bolsa Familia, for the first time, money was given to a person and he was expected to make a livelihood choice for him. And this made the people to focus on higher order needs like education, health, etc. As they got the livelihood and minimum income guarantee, so they started moving on to the next step. The same thing is expected today from the Nyay. So in this context, what are the challenges that can come from the Nyay? What is the way out is discussed in this article. Income guarantee scheme, what are the challenges which we have? The first is targeting challenge. In this targeting, there are many inclusion and exclusion errors. The second is fiscal challenge. As I told to you, around 3.6 lakh crore rupees of the money is required. Where it has to come from? So probably the taxes have to rise, or economic activity by itself has to increase. Above all, we need to ensure this money from the existing programs. It means the money spent from MGNREGA, health, education may be diverted for income guarantee scheme. Is this good? If that happens, then income guarantee is doing more harm rather than good. So, finding the fiscal space is the greater challenge. And second advantage of income guarantee is it will spur the demand in the economy, consumption will increase, it will bring in new economic growth. Along with that, it will also bring in something called inflation. And this inflation is expected to hurt the poor the most. Next point is, with the coming of MGNREGA, what it was complained is this: labor force got diverted and the cost of the labor force also has increased in agriculture sector. With income guarantee, labor force, will it move out of the work? That is another concern. And finally, there is no precedent to execute such a big project. So, how to execute? Next is, on the other side, the cash transfers are expected to raise the livelihoods. In Bolsa Familia, that is what has happened. But without proper delivery mechanism, this program is going to come to an halt. That is expressed. So what is the way out the author is talking about? Rather than implementing the program at a single go, it has to be raised in an incremental manner. Yesterday we saw that rather than going for income guarantee, we can bring in a slew of measures like Urban Employment Guarantee Act, etc. That is another approach. Next, the irrelevance of secularism. Now, the secularism in the West and Indian secularism are different from each other. In the West, the state and religion are isolated from each other. In the case of India, our secularism is based on Sarva Dharma Sambhava. It means the state shall respect and treat all the religions equally, and also it has to maintain equidistance from every religion. So, why India has got a different variant of secularism? The reason was India is highly religious country. So, totally separating the religion from the public realm is unexpected. And second, here we see the religion in a positive perspective. If you see Gandhi or everyone, they thought the religion as a spiritual and philosophical guide to them. So, in this context, our Indian variant of secularism has come into existence. But our from the days of Nehru, there is an Hindutva element which is running parallel to it. The reason is India was divided on the basis of religion, and most of the Muslims moving into Pakistan, the Hindu element started dominating. Even in the Congress of those days, there was Hindutva element, none other than Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel represented that. And the next, during Indira Gandhi era, you know that every element, either religion, caste, everything was used for politics. And Rajiv Gandhi era, there is dual appeasement of Hindus and Muslims. So, Muslims, you know, Shah Bano case, where a woman was expected to get alimony from the husband through Supreme Court judgment. The judgment was diluted through a law made by the parliament, which was supported by Rajiv Gandhi government. And to appease the Hindus, counter to this, they also reopened the issue of Ayodhya. So Rajiv Gandhi government allowed for Hindus to take their prayers within the campus of Babri Masjid. So this policy has been declared as dual appeasement policy. During P.V. Narasimha Rao era, demolition of Babri Masjid, and Vajpayee era, the gruesome Godhra incident and aftermath. And after the death of Indira Gandhi, you saw anti-securiotes. And during Modi era, we are seeing minority insecurities. And as Hindutva is thought to be giving the votes today, Congress also leaning towards the soft Hindutva. This entire thing tells us one thing: we are politicizing the religion like never before. So it shows that the Indian variant of secularism is failing to provide the adequate results to us. So the author suggests, let us move back into the Western variant of secularism, where religion and the state are separate from each other. A stop sign. This is about reduction in carbon emissions. You know, International Energy Agency has given that India's emissions have increased. How shall we reduce that? 5% increase was there. At Paris Summit, we have a promise. What is the promise? Our energy, that is emission intensity, the word used is emission intensity, will be reduced by 33 to 35% by 2030 over 2005 levels. And the second thing, from very beginning, our stance is common but differentiated responsibilities, because India was not responsible for historical accumulation of emissions. And second, the West, which was responsible for this, shall take the greater responsibility. This is the basis for UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. Common but differentiated responsibilities. In that scenario, India wanted to be a country that is moving towards green energy. But however, our path towards it is very slow. So the focus has to be on solar and wind energy. You know that we have to produce 100 gigawatts of solar energy by 2022. And rooftop solar installations are still slow. And second, green transport. Electric mobility is taking pace across the countries. In India, electric mobility is still a distant dream. And with regard to the coal and coal power plants, these need to be slowly replaced by renewables. In this case, how the West has to help the East? Always in climate change. What the countries like India want? Liberal financing from the West, who are responsible for the accumulation of carbon emissions. and also transfer of technology. So this is what the West has to do towards this. Again, mitigation is the responsibility of us. And per capita emissions, if you go by equity dimension, are very low for India. But overall emissions, India is also high. The major criticism among the global countries is that India is hiding behind its population. But if global warming goes at this pace, the worst affected will be the tropical countries. The reason is we are most dependent on weather. Weather patterns are expected to change. A reality check. It is about UN Security Council. You know, UN Security Council 1267 Sanctions Committee. Before this, we took up the MasoodAzhar issue many times, and China has objected to it. In this context, entire Security Council members got fed up with China. Now, we are still unable to understand the China which is supporting the listing of Pakistan as a grey country in Financial Action Task Force or with regard to terror financing. Why is it is supporting in MasoodAzhar issue? And second, China has its own terror problem in Xinjiang province. So, in spite of this, why it is so particular about MasoodAzhar? This is where comes One Belt, One Road initiative. China needs the cooperation of Pakistan at any cost for One Belt, One Road initiative. And China wants to stop in the Islamic terrorism and its wings to spread into Xinjiang province. That's where appears some understanding. However, now the America has moved a motion to list Mr. MasoodAzhar as an international terrorist. India need to be cautious. India previously stated that it is going to take up a patient and persistent stand to list Mr. Masood as an international terrorist. India shall follow the same rather than played into the hands of the US or into the hands of China at this moment. Next, debris from anti-satellite test to disintegrate in 45 days. Official. So, the debris which has been created was huge. But it is in the low Earth orbit, these 270 pieces of debris which are created are expected to burn down as they enter into the atmosphere. It was not the same situation as like China. When in 2007 when it was tested, they crashed a missile which is 800 kilometers above the Earth, and it has created 3000 plus pieces, and they are still in the orbit today. So in a way, India is trying to project that it is still a responsible country. Growth rate highest since liberalization, Chief Economic Advisor. What it is been stated here is this. Today we have achieved 7.5% of the growth. However, different statistics are giving different information to us, but we need to agree with the government for that. If I see the achievements of this government, one is GST. How it was implemented is the next question, but bringing the country under unified tax system has made the things very good. And monetary policy committee. And third, the insolvency and bankruptcy code. And fourth, inflation is under control. So if I have to say some achievements of the Modi government on economic front, these are the ones which we can list. Kartarpur corridor. India fears misuse of it because anti-Indian elements are entering into these committees. And the second, India wants no cap on the pilgrims and Pakistan wants a cap on them. So this is what is the major bone of contention between India and Pakistan. 5 varieties of India coffee awarded GI certification. One is Coorg Arabica, Wayanad Robusta, Chikmagalur Arabica, Araku Valley Arabica, Baba Budangiri Arabica, and these are the 5 varieties of the coffee which got the GI tag today. Already monsooned Malabar Robusta coffee has the GI tag. Now, the older Japanese, 6 lakhs around older Japanese live in isolation. Japan is a very work efficiency oriented country. We all know that. For hard work, if any country has to stand as an example, it is Japan. So in such a country, any person who is underperforming is not respected and accepted. It means the service and the efficiency standards, work standards of Japan are very high. So, as these are not being accepted, these are getting isolated. This phenomenon has its own name that is called hikikomori. So we don't need to remember anything. In our essay, we can use this as an example in our race for productivity, in our race for life, in our race for achievement, how we are making ourselves or how we are losing ourselves as a community. That's what. If you read this third pillar, yesterday I got this book of Raghuram which is newly released. He emphasizes one point between the power of the state and ambition of the market. Community is getting disintegrated, community support is being lost. This is a typical example for that. Let's revise the things. Pathways to an income guarantee. It is about Nyay. What did we say? Inflation added to that, diversion of the funds from the existing basic necessities, and above all, not focusing on deliverables. These can make the Nyay a failure. So yesterday we have discussed fiscal challenges, targeting challenges. Today we are discussing in that inflation, the labor force may be decreased and labor cost may be increased, and it may give fillip to the inflation. These are the points we got extra today. Irrelevance of secularism. Excessive use of religion in Indian politics is making mockery of Indian secularism. A stop sign. India need to refocus its energies on green transport, green energy, etc. A reality check. It is about US proposing to list Mr. MasoodAzhar as an international terrorist in UN Security Council. India shall not be carried away by this. India shall have its reality check on the issue. And finally, thank you very much. Good day.